Today I'm going to share a closer look at a method I developed in 2019 that uses square knots to create a color blocking effect. It doesn't have an official name yet, but I usually refer to it as alternating square knot method, or wrapped square knot method, or color blocking square knot method. This tutorial will be broken down into 3 parts. Part 1 is adding the first color, part 2 is switching to a new color, and part 3 is cleaning up the loose ends. So if you're ready, let's get started. I typically wrap my square knots around 4 hanging cords at a time, or in other words, 2 strings hung from the dowel by lark's head knots. However, you can use more or less based on your own preference. Start by holding your first color of string at its halfway point, and then bring the entire string behind the hanging cords, holding it horizontally. Cross the left side over to the right, then bring it behind the right side of the string to form a loop. Then take the string that was on the right and cross it behind the hanging strings towards the left, then bring it forward through the loop. This is how we attach our first color, and technically we just completed 1/2 of a square knot. Go ahead and pull both ends to tighten, and then you can use your thumb to gently slide it up towards the top of the dowel. To finish the square knot, we will use the same method but working from opposite sides. So start by crossing the right side over the hanging strings, then under the left side of the string. Then bring that left side behind and then forward through the loop on the right. Once again, pull the ends to tighten. All right, that was the hard part. Now you'll just need to continue to tie square knots, remembering to switch off which side you start off with each time. For this tutorial, I'm going to stop at 3 square knots, and next I'll show you how to add a new color. I'm starting off the same way I did for adding the first color by placing the new string horizontally behind the hanging cords. However, before the next step, I use my last 3 fingers to separate the hanging cords from the previous color, pushing the previous color towards the back. Then I attach the new color the same way I did for the first color. When the first half of your square knot is complete, gently pull the ends to tighten. This should, for the most part, automatically pull the previous color to the back, but as you can see, mine is still peeking out towards the side, so I'm just gently pulling it to the back. Here's a look at how it looks from the back right now. For the second half of the square knot, I actually tie over the 4 hanging cords in the front and the 2 colored cords in the back. This secures them in place and allows me to skip having to weave in the loose ends later. Here's another look at how it looks in the back after the first square knot. Now you can set aside those previous cords and you don't have to keep tying over them anymore. You can trim them off now if you want, or wait until the end like I do. I'm going to stop here again at 3 square knots, and next I'll show you how to clean up the loose ends. Flip the piece over so you're looking at the back. As you can see, the first color is already woven into the back of the piece and secure. Now we can just trim off those loose ends, and you can trim as close to where they're tied in as you'd like. For the strings on the bottom, we will need to weave them in. I typically weave in 1 string at a time using a wide-eyed tapestry needle. Pinch the end of the string and feed it through the opening of the needle. I usually weave it upward through the last full square knot. You'll see the needle go under 2 strings here. Then gently pull upward until you can't pull anymore. Next, repeat on the other side. Now all that's left to do is trim off the loose ends. Flip the piece back over to the front and admire your finished work. Thanks for watching. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments, and if you found this video helpful, please be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more tutorials just like this.